like they're like, oh, she's having an episode, you know, like I would just flip on all the lights in the house because I would be afraid, you know. I'm like, I'm not going through this really well, and they're like, you're wasting, my bill is gonna go up, you know. And then I realized, oh well, now I'm gonna go to Home Depot and get like the LED lights so that they don't cost as much. So when I have the lights on, I'm not freaking out and like draining the bills. But
the fact that you have to think about that.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I can still keep the lights on.
You're over here being considerate during a breakdown.
Yes.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Medium Podcast. It's your host, Melissa Nami.
And it's me, Connor.
And for today's guest, we've got comedian and host of the It's Gonna Be Okay podcast, Carissa Gomez.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I saw a few lizards outside. I was like, that's fun. You know, I love lizards because we like to both do push-ups. Do you guys ever, I don't know if anybody else ever like sees that kind of shit, but like, because, you know, I live like out in the desert and stuff like that, and I always pay attention to like the wildlife.
Same.
You know, and lizards in particular, I was like, yeah, those are like the bros of animals, you know, because they're just always like this. And then I actually looked it up and found out that they do that for intimidation, and I was like, that makes sense. Why guys do it now, you know, they do it to, you know, exert dominance of some sort, you know. But for some reason, I don't know, I feel like a guy's biceps are just makes me more attractive to them. I don't know, because I'm like, he can hold things with those arms, you know.
You know who has really good biceps?
Who?
Kangaroos.
For real?
Dude, yeah, they're freaking jacked.
I had no idea.
Kangaroos are jacked.
Well, you said they're jacked. She said lizards are the bros of the animal kingdom. It's like, I think of iguanas. They stand up like that too, right?
Yeah, iguanas are buff too.
Yeah.
They stand up. They stand like this. When you did that, that was like a big ass cholo. Like fucking, that was like legit like cholo stance. Yeah, exactly.
What's up?
Yeah, that's like family matters right there for me, at least. It's taking me back, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
do you like going hiking and stuff like that?
No, I'm terrified of hiking. Now I've done it, but I feel like I have to be mindful of how deep into the wilderness I get, mostly because I'm on a blood thinner, and I always feel like if something happens, it's gonna result in a helicopter rescue. You know, it's not gonna be me chewing my arm off or any of that. I literally have to take that into consideration.
Stick to main roads. Keep some service.
Stick to the stuff that exactly. Service, yes, big time, yes, mostly because of that issue.
We have a job site up in the mountains right now, and I get so like anxious going there because 2 miles away from the job site, my phone goes complete. It does the whole SOS thing.
Hell no.
No one has service there.
Freak the fuck out, dude.
I get anxious. I'm like, what if what do I do in case of an emergency?
At the same time, wait, does it have a main road though?
It takes like 2.5 miles to get there.
Okay. At the same time, you do have a murder scene. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I know these spots.
Yeah.
Where I could leave bodies and stuff. You know, I don't know. I just always, I'm like, where am I going with this? I just always kind of have to take it into a darker place.
I brush my hair a lot on the road.
Oh, just so you cannot have like evidence? Is that why?
No loose follicles.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. It's like in that movie Gattaca, you know, where he's like shedding his skin and
I love that you referenced that movie.
Shut up, dude. That's where I go, like, you know, mentally. I'm like, this guy, he's trying to get to the moon, you know what I mean? But I just never understood why they didn't just allow him to work his way, because obviously he kicked ass, you know what I mean? He kicked ass physically and shit like that. I was like, he might have been like a short king, but I think he would have made it, dude. I don't know.
Everything would have been okay.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Everything would have definitely been okay.
I love that you referenced Gattaca.
Yeah.
It's a very cool biological engineering movie. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I liked it a lot, mostly, because, you know, and I'm not into like bioengineering, but like I have a background in chemistry, so you know, seeing the, I like to see how they fuck up in movies, you know, especially that kind of, you know, information. I'm like, yeah, that's not physically possible. I'm like, I always think of like the technicalities for everything,
for all of that to actually occur.
Yeah. And then I'll get pissed off. I'm like, fuck this movie, you know, I don't want to see this shit. And then I start realizing like, oh, you know, that's what they call the suspense of disbelief, you know, where they allow you to imagine. Or for other people that don't have that background, it's just called stupidity. So they just like hinge off of the, you know, impossibility because people don't have that, you know, to latch onto.
So if most people are dumb, we can describe DNA however we want to.
Exactly. And they're just gonna be like, who cares? Look at those outfits they're wearing. They do have really nice clothes in that movie. I'm 100%. I loved it for the fashion alone.
If it was possible, would you, like, if you were having a kid, would you take that route? Like you know, make them into, like, because at that point, what is it called in a video game? Like, it's your, gosh dang it.
You're upgrading your kids?
No.
You're modding them?
Well, it's like the whole premise is like, oh, I want this kid to have blue eyes, you know.
Oh, genetically modifying your
would you
kid.
do it? Would
I choose? No. Because I kind of, I mean, I
roll the dice.
Well, no, I mean, some part of me, I've never thought about having kids, but if I ever did, you know, was in a good place to like procreate, you know what I mean, I would like, I guess I would like the element of surprise, you know. That's part of the procreation process, you know. So I don't know, I feel like maybe in hindsight, I think if my parents were able to do that, they'd be like, yeah, we'd want to remove the mental illness out of her, you know. Like that was her downfall, dude. Like control alt delete on the schizophrenia, you know, but the rest of her, she's fine.
It's like, you know, when you're making your Sims, it's like, you know, go down 3 notches there, increase 2 notches on joyfulness.
It would be like the Matrix, but for mental illness, you know. We're just like, we just need to unplug that child. She's yeah, you know, as a matter of fact, I don't think any of the audience knows. So my podcast is about mental health because I live with a mental illness. We're not cohabitating. We've always been this way. I live with I was diagnosed with schizophrenia in 2006. So it's quite a while. It's almost we're almost hitting like the 20-year mark. Yeah, I know I always say 20 years in my act, but that's just because that's the Latino in me and I like to round my numbers up, you know what I mean, like, so but I was diagnosed with that. I've been hospitalized. We were talking about like living in Southern California. I lived in Southern California all my life, and I've been hospitalized for all these hospitals. So I know it on a different level.
Where were you at in your life when you were diagnosed? Were you in school? Were you in?
Oh, I was always in school. Yeah. I you know what? As a matter of fact, because I'm not on the medication anymore. They took me off it because I have a physical issue that I need to live with. I have a blood thinner. I have a blood clotting disorder, but that came after the fact, after being on the antipsychotics and antidepressants for years. And they had to take me off of it because a lot of the antipsychotics are salt based, which means like they attach to like potassium, or they attach to sodium. Like basically they inundate like those, like your neurotransmitters have like doors.
That's what I was remembering, like channels, like that's their gateway. Exactly.
That's their gateway for being released. So
when you get a nux, I remember a little bit.
Yeah. So a lot of exactly. So you understand what I'm saying. So a lot of the way it's metabolized is through salts.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they cause water retention in your extremities, like your arms, your legs.
Yeah.
And so they had to take me off of that because they said, well, we can't have that because that's your problem already. Is that if you retain more water in your extremities, it's gonna fuck up your vascular system even more.
That causes like edema.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And I already have because of the blood clot, I survived 2 blood clots simultaneously, which should have killed me. That's what they were worried about.
I'm glad you're here today.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was just like, you know what? Throughout my entire life, I had tried, I've had so many suicide attempts. I said, you know what? I could have just let life take me because it would have taken me anyway, with that kind of disorder. I was just like, whatever.
Now it's just on autopilot.
Exactly. I was like, why did I even try? Why did I even try?
Was it like your diagnosis? Did it follow for the blood clot disorder? Did it follow something scary like that?
Well, both of the diagnoses are genetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the physical one is, I don't know if it was because a lot of the drugs that they put me on made me gain weight. So I don't know. Maybe it could have been like a cause and effect situation where, had I not been on those drugs to gain all that weight, it might not have triggered that blood clotting disorder so quickly. But then at the same time, I probably would have figured it out. I would have had something like that later on because one of my aunts, she died away. Why did I say that? She passed away from cerebral hematoma, which is caused by having an aneurysm or a blood clot in your brain.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't tell us, they didn't have a name for it. They just said that's what she died of. They didn't say, oh, well, we tested her for factor V lead-in and that's what she got.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was diagnosed with it that I said, oh, okay, now I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
You found the cause.
Yeah.
The doctors are just like, oh, it happened.
Yeah. And I was just like, no, I've always had it. It's it's protein that you get. Yeah. So anyway, I have 2 conflicting things. Obviously biology will beat the shit out of you, not just physically, but also when you're in class.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I describing? Let me get back on track. What was I?
The It's Gonna Be Okay podcast. You centered it around mental health. You were giving us your backstory.
Yeah, my backstory. Which I never do, because I'm always interviewing other people. But
if you're willing to talk about it,
I'm 100% willing to talk about it.
My question is not my question, but I really do enjoy your podcast. I've listened to most of your episodes.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You do a really good job at, there's this whole stigma behind like it's a hard thing to talk about,
right?
And when I hear you and your guests talk about it, it really does shed that like especially being Middle Eastern, there's a stigma against therapy. There's a stigma, there's a shame behind it. I remember expressing to my mother one time like, oh, I want to get into therapy, and it was like a scene out of a stereotype movie. She was like, oh, what, you want to talk about me? And I'm like, can it just be about me?
Yeah.
So I really do love and appreciate what you're doing, because it does, it tears down those walls around the topic, and it's something we all need to hear.
Yeah, I think for some people though, it does build walls even more, and it should, because people need boundaries.
Yeah.
It 100% it should build walls, because I think that in and of itself, like that was a big problem for me when I was diagnosed with it, because I was just, I was when it first happened, it's like I could see it coming when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. Like I saw, how would I say it? It came in the form of like delusional thought process, like it, and a lot of people always think it's just hallucinations. It's not just the hallucination. Hallucinations are part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like your thought process is not making any sense. It's like, and sometimes my diagnosis gets, mixed up with like ADHD or like, like autism, like that spectrum. But the way they knew that it was schizophrenia obviously was the delusional thought process, because not everybody is as delusional. But it's also the fact that the way we interact with people is a little different. Like sometimes I'm good with interaction. Yeah, like human interaction. I can be social. On the other hand, like most people that have like the ADHD or something, they have difficulty with social interaction. I didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
You know, my difficulty came from when it came to social interaction, my difficulty came with the delusional thoughts in thinking that those people had it out to get me, or there was something there, like they could read my thoughts and I was freaking out. You know, all kinds of like spiraling things. But now I'm able to catch when I'm spiraling into that thought process. And, you know, like part of the therapy and the, you know, going in and out of hospitals and, you know, is to catch when you're falling into that, you know, and that's not signs. Right. Exactly. And that's not an easy thing at all. You know,
doesn't sound like it.
And now I supplement, instead of being on the medication, I supplement the exercising for that. I'm not saying it's like a quick fix, but it does get me tired where I don't even give a shit anymore, you know, and then like go to sleep, wake up, start to cycle again, you know? Yeah. So I just have to make sure that I exercise, you know, where I'm just completely, not completely wiped out, but enough for me to be like, I'm all right, you know,
just mellow out a
little
bit.
Right. Yeah. I've met a lot of people with my diagnosis who use drugs to do it. I don't recommend that because I feel like, the drugs might actually, they do 100% make it worse.
When you say drugs, things like marijuana.
Yeah,
cocaine,
marijuana.
Things like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've never done cocaine. I've smoked weed before. And I'm not saying that it's not bad for everyone. There's some people that can handle it. They have the brain chemistry to handle it, but I know I don't.
It's a psychoactive drug.
Yeah. So I know I don't. It doesn't matter how many times I've fucking experimented, even like the THC, it doesn't give me a good effect. I just don't like it.
It's been shown if you have like the contraindications or whatever it may be for certain mental illnesses, that it can bring on a certain level of psychosis.
Yeah.
And it can like enable that or like trigger that type of psychosis. So it really isn't for everybody.
No, it's not. And I've hated people who have told me like, well, maybe you should just smoke weed. Maybe you should just do all the drugs. You know, like, do all the drugs? They're like, yeah, your brain chemistry's already fucked up.
Oh, my God. People actually say that, girl?
Yes,
no.
They've told me that. And I'm like,
that's a whole new level of stupid.
I was like, you know what's going to be fucked up? Your face if you keep fucking talking, you bitch, you know? But yeah, I've had some pretty insensitive comments.
That's annoying.
You know, that kind of shit. And I'm just like, you know, you're just stupid.
Yeah. The analogy that I started like thinking of when you mentioned like the thought process was like, you know, like the like not normal, but like the typical brain is like a game of Pong, back, forth versus like when you're saying delusional thoughts, I'm thinking of a game of like pinball. You know what I mean? Like it's going over the thing, it's hitting the thing, it's making a noise. It's
like, see, I didn't even think about it that way.
My brain just always goes to analogies. That's how I simplify understanding for myself, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've always tried to come up with a comparison for it, but I don't have a normal brain chemistry to compare it to, you know. All I could just give a visual of what it looks like in my head.
Yeah.
For me, it would be like, you know, when you walk into a dark hallway and you imagine like some sort of demon coming after you. That's what it feels like.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's essentially what it feels like to be in my head is when I'm going through the delusional thought process.
Yeah.
It feels like there's something just lurking in the dark, you know, and it's like,
That's awesome that you found a way to like balance it out now that you're dealing with the blood thinning issue.
Oh yeah. Now I just flip the switches all on my. There was a time where when I was going through it, and my parents would freak the fuck. They're like, "Oh, she's having an episode," you know. Like I would just flip on all the lights in the house. because I would be afraid, you know. I'm like, I'm not going through this really well, and they're like, you're wasting, my bill is gonna go up, you know. And then I realized, oh well, now I'm gonna go to Home Depot and get like the LED lights so that they don't cost as much. So when I have the lights on, I'm not freaking out and like draining the bills. But
the fact that you have to think about that.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I can still keep the lights on.
You're over here being considerate during a breakdown.
Yes.
If there's a time to focus on yourself, Carissa.
No. And then, you know, obviously I've had like the suicide attempts because sometimes they've gotten really bad. That's what landed me in the hospital, where the suicide. It wasn't because like the symptoms were bad. It was because the symptoms were so bad I just wanted to end it, like that kind of thing. I don't think people understand, you know. It's not people always think like when you're suicidal they think, oh, you hate yourself. No, it's not always. It hasn't. Suicide has nothing to do with self-love or self-hate, which I'm trying to tell people. Yeah, you're fucking dumb to think that, you know what I mean? Like, if you even knew it, it has to do with the managing of the stress, which cause the symptoms, which trigger you to be like, oh, this is never. Because ultimately, when you're going through things like that, and you want it to end, you want to find relief, and sometimes it just feels like there's no end to it. Yeah, that's what brings the desperation for you to be like, I just want to feel okay. You know,
going away sometimes sounds like it'll feel okay.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And that's where the suicidal ideation and all that and the attempts came from, was for me, because I was just like, I was just desperate. I wasn't finding any relief, not even in all the drugs that they had me on and things like that. That made it difficult, you know. And then on top of it, going back to the idea of like, you know, having parents that don't understand. My parents are immigrants. They don't fucking.
I was gonna ask if there's a stigma in your culture,
100%,
like growing up.
100%. Like, you know, both my parents are Mexican, and even like when I wanted to get help, I was talking about this with another friend of mine. When I saw like the symptoms get worse. I remember wanting to get help when I was in high school, but you'd have to like take your parent with you, because obviously you can't go to a therapist unless you're of age alone, you know. And my mom was like,
consent forms.
Yeah. My mom was like, no, because then they're going to think that we did something to you. And I was like, what the fuck? That
immigrant stigma, dude.
I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? You know, like she was worried about like CPS coming after her. And
what are they going to think of us?
Yeah, exactly.
If someone knows that's what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I was just like, well, then they'd fucking know, okay? Because they're going to find out anyway. Because as soon as I turn 18, I'm going to go. And that's exactly what I did. As soon as I turned 18, I went to see a therapist. That was the thing that I did for myself. Most people when they're 18, I'm moving out of the house. I was like, I'm going to see therapy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go fix myself. Like that was where my brain was. Yeah. You know, and I remember in high school, like, you know, people would be like, where do you see yourself 20 years from now? And I was like, alive, maybe. I don't know. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it even past any of this shit. And I don't think people understood that. They were just like, oh, she's just an angsty teenager. And I was like,
she listens to hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to 9 Inch Nails. That's my shit. But that never made me suicidal. If anything, it made me want to keep going. You know what I mean? Because he's got like lyrics to this song. You know, obviously, Head Like a Hole. You know, they go, head like a hole, black as your soul. I'd rather die than give you control. Like, that's what kept me going through my depression. And I was like, I'm not going to give this any control.
I noticed from your Instagram that you love the 9 Inch Nails.
I do.
And
I have
a big affinity to them because they're one of the first bands my cousin showed me. And my cousin to this day, every time they're in the East Coast, like anywhere between Massachusetts and New York, he's always at the 9 Inch Nails concert.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah.
I noticed you have the jacket. Right?
Yes. I am a big 9 Inch Nails fan, huge 9 Inch Nails fan. But getting back to my parents, my dad was a little bit more supportive. He was a little bit more open-minded. You know, my mom, not so much still, not even to this very day. And I think it was funny too, because when it started being a problem, because I went to UCR, I studied, my mom wanted me to be a doctor, and I was like, I'm not gonna make this, you know. I ended up getting the degree in art history. I took a lot of chemistry classes for the pre-med stuff, but I ended up just getting the degree in art history. I mean, I always thought like maybe I could just go back, finish my chemistry degree, get a second baccalaureate. And when I decided to do that, they had ended the program to do that, and then I was just like, well, all right. Now I got all these classes. I have fucking so many student loans.
You have like a minor in chemistry, basically.
Yeah, I mean, yes, essentially, yeah. But you know, when I was going through it, I was like thinking to myself, because I used a lot of alcohol to cope in school, because the medication, it works, but it wasn't working.
Did alcohol help?
Fuck no, it didn't. No, it made it worse. I was just like, I can't tolerate this. I felt like I was in the hardest part, going to school and then having the symptoms, like living with the symptoms and dealing with that. And then I remember when I started getting into like my bio classes and my physics, I had a bio teacher that was a fucking piece of shit. I had an episode, and because I was taking like 25 units.
As far as the medication?
No, 25 units for school.
For school, damn.
Yeah, I was taking 25 units.
You're double full time.
I was taking 25 units.
12 is full time, isn't it?
Yeah, I was taking 25 units every fucking, just so I can get the
shit, girl.
just so
when did you rest?
I didn't. That's what I was saying. And my mom was like, "Oh, you need to be a doctor."
That's what made her proud.
Fuck that bitch. I said, you know what? I want to be alive. I don't want to be a doctor. You can go kiss my fucking ass with this shit. I said, you want a doctor so much in this family? You go be one. You know what I mean? And then I love that. She was like, well, I don't have the brain you have. I said, exactly. And you driving me insane even more. I feel like now with the way I think, I could probably become a doctor.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it because I don't fucking give a damn, you know?
Yeah, it's not what you want to do.
No. I think there's better ways to help people, which is why I do the podcast. Yeah. I think there's better ways to help people. And plus, I think it would probably hurt me even more morally if I had to deny someone help. And based on their fucking health insurance. Yeah, that's what fucking makes me grossed out by this. Is that because even me finding help, even having insurance was terrible. Finding help for a mental illness, especially like mine, you know, that was a struggle. That was part of the struggle, because it made you desperate. You're like, I'm trying to find answers. You know, what do I do? How do I deal with this? Yeah. And it was always like, oh, well, you got to wait 2 more weeks. You know, why don't you just write it down until our next session? I was like, this is dumb. You're not giving me fucking answers. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're not giving me like a playbook on how to navigate this. And then I realized they didn't even know how to navigate it. You know what I mean? So part of me was like, okay, now I have to actually go out and seek that kind of help. When oddly enough, when I was on my parents' health insurance, when I was with Kaiser, they were just absolute garbage. I think Kaiser, in terms of like,
we hear that a lot.
Yeah, their psych treatment is just, they put you in good hospitals. You know, the hospitals are really nice that they find you in when you have the 5150s, but outside, it's almost just like, oh, we're just going to give you a lollipop, you know, put a Band-Aid over it. You know what I mean? It's never to help you truly understand who and what, or your diagnosis is not to, you know, it wasn't until I got on the, after I was out of my parents' insurance and I had to apply for the government public shit, government assistance, you know what I mean? they saw my diagnosis. They're like, oh shit, okay, you know, you need help, you know. And then they gave me a good cognitive therapist.
Very nice.
For the thoughts, and helped me with stress management. That was a big one. The stress management. A lot of people don't understand how stress plays an integral role in how you manage and how you even, you know, navigate your mental health, because obviously stress is just a big trigger just in and of itself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how long you've had it, it doesn't matter on how many drugs you are. It's like stress is just going to fucking throw you into it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It can throw you into an episode for how long it lasts, you know. You have to know how to manage your stress. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
That was a big factor. And then the other one is, in managing your stress, is having those boundaries, you know, because sometimes we don't understand that there's certain environments that we put ourselves in, or there's certain people we'll be around where we're like, okay, I can't emotionally handle this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then people always take it personally. It's like, it's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with me managing my mental health. It's got to do with the fact that I've been in and out of hospitals for this kind of shit. You think I want to keep going in and out of hospitals just because you're taking this personally? It has nothing to do with it, my guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's certain people where you have to limit interactions with, and that's fine. You know, it's fine. You just know who you are. If they're going to take it personally, well, they can go eat shit. You know, that's what I say.
I agree.
Yeah. You know, you just start realizing, well, maybe, you know, because we're not meant for everybody. You know what I mean?
That part.
Yeah. We're not meant for everybody.
Not everybody's going to like us.
Exactly.
And we're fools to get offended if someone doesn't, or even like, let's not even go as far as to say like, you don't like these people. You just know you don't care for them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's got nothing, like, I don't know why people take it personally.
They flatter themselves.
Oh God.
It's like a total flattery, girl. They think about there's not 1% of them that like innately thinks about other people.
Oh,
in any situation. It's just like me.
No, I feel like if someone told me, hey, Carissa, you're kind of stressing me out, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I legit would be like, well, can I minimize your stress in any way? I'm imagining
you like the Homer meme. You just like go behind the bush.
Well, I don't, you know, I take that pretty seriously. I would never want to be a stressor for anybody.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because I know ultimately what it would be like for me if someone was a stressor for me.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to fuck anybody over or do it. That's not my intention. It's not my role in this world. You're
literally just treating people the way you want to be treated.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, some people take offense to it. Like I'm giving them the cold shoulder. I'm like, all right, fine.
You can hang out, but you're gonna actually get offended if you stick around.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't have any tolerance for that kind of stuff.
Of course.
First of all, I'm fucking too old. I'm living with a mental illness that would normally put people in the fucking streets. First of all, it could have landed me in the street multiple times. But fortunately, my sisters and my dad didn't do it. My mom was so quick to want to kick my ass the fuck out every single time. She was like, get out, you know? And I was like, I'm gone. You know? I've had so many fights with that woman. Dude, I'm amazed at her age and how much she still puts up a fight. I'm like... Stubborn. I'm like, why? Give it the fuck up, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you're not proving anything other than you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You know? I still live with her, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go home and, you know, she's calmed down a little bit since her mom died. But, I think there's like, the stigma that I fight, it's not just from random people, it's from family.
Yeah.
That's essentially why I even started doing this, started talking about it, because I feel like a lot of people particularly around my mental illness, are incredibly ignorant of it, because every time they always hear schizophrenic, they always think, oh shit, dude, when is going to be your next turn to, are you going to shoot up a school soon? And I've had family tell me that. I was like, why would you say that to me? Like, you're joking, right? I'm like,
it's not even a good joke.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bro, come on, at least a mall, at least a mall. I could, that
You're like, I'm not going to go to a school that I don't even go to.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, dude. Yeah. Plus they want me at schools. You know what I mean? They're going to want me there. They're going to be like, yeah, this is our next, protege or some shit. Yeah. I don't know. Stupid.
I'm curious now because like you hearing the immigrant perspective around like mental health, mental wellness and all that stuff. What do you think about it? Because his family, like, first of all, fuck you, growing up white with supportive parents.
Woo-woo.
Yeah.
He's all like, yeah.
What's up? But it's true.
Definitely
it's like
privileged in that area for sure.
I'm curious. What do you think it is between like the upbringing?
I think it's poverty, to be honest.
Is that what it is?
Well, I do feel like there's definitely a lot of white families that are against therapy as well. There's definitely, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people. We live in America where everybody's, I'm a big, strong man. I don't need no fucking therapy. A lot of white people think like that.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I just think that shit's just equal across the board. It depends on their insecurities. You know what I mean?
I told my mom I'm depressed, she'll never say, oh, you should go see someone, go get help.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I know for a fact if you told your parents, they'd be like, oh, Connor, you should go see someone. You should go get help.
And I do see people. So, yeah.
Well, I physically see people now. I just, yeah, so I think in telling your parents like you're depressed or something's wrong with you, you're like, oh, I wasn't a good parent. How did I fuck up? I'm like, sometimes it has nothing to do with it. But since we're on that vein, I do want to tell you how you fucked up. Okay.
I'm always telling my mom, like, how some babies are born with a cleft lip.
My dad was born with one of those.
Really?
Yes.
I tell her, I'm like, sometimes you have a cleft lip in your brain.
Yes.
And it's way harder to get in.
Yeah, that is a good analogy, which I think that's the reason why my dad was a little bit more supportive of that, is because he was born with the physical abnormality.
He faced that.
Yeah. I was talking about, this is so strange that you even bring that up, that analogy even of itself. I was talking to one of my friends about that, how when my dad was growing up in Mexico, he had to have I think over 100 surgeries.
Wow.
Because they kept experimenting on him. Like they would get doctors who were in residency from the United States out there just to do experimentation.
What the heck? Like trial operations?
Yes. Just on him to try to fix this.
Yeah.
And when he was a little boy, I remember he wasn't even raised he was abandoned by his mom for that reason. Because he was born with the cleft palate and it was hard for her to take care of him. And so instead of, them accepting him, they would make him wear one of those luchador masks to cover it up because they were ashamed of having him. And
like Elephant Man treatment,
yes,
dude.
Yeah,
over something that's way more common than most people realize.
Exactly. And people would throw stuff at him when he was a little boy, that kind of stuff. So they didn't allow him out of the house. When they did, he'd put the mask on to protect him. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't until he came to the United States. The only reason why he came to the United States, this is how shitty his fucking mom was. She had an entire family out here with another man. And when that man found out that she left the son in Mexico, he was like, that's not right. Dude. So this man adopted my dad. Yeah, that's how I got the name Gomez. That's an adopted name. I'm not blood related Gomez. No. So every time people make Addams Family jokes, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't even fucking know, bitch. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah.
That's a beautiful, like a beautiful story.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of fucked up.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up and nice at the same time. Yeah.
It's like, it's unfortunate that that's what it took to find morality, was like a more moral man.
Yeah. So they brought him over here when he was a teenager. And then this is the reason why I did want to be a doctor, but for me, I think it made it challenging doing it because of the mental health issues. So, like, because when they brought my dad over to the United States, they have the Smile Train doctors. They finally fixed my dad at UCLA Medical School. They fixed him there. Yeah. They did the final
operations.
Yeah, they did the final fixing, and then that's when my mom was like, "Yeah, you should be a doctor. You should be a surgeon." And I was like, "You know what? I got my own shit to fucking deal with." Yeah. Like you can't. I understand. Like she was probably like, "You need to do something in homage of your dad," to like give to other people. And I was like, "I get that, but right now, you're not making it easy for me." You know, like. But it's just, yeah, I think it's poverty that I honestly think poverty makes dealing with your mental health way tougher.
Yeah, there's bigger problems like eating.
Yes, it makes it way tougher.
Living, the pursuit of mental wellness is a privilege, unfortunately.
Yeah,
because you think about like other countries and shit.
Well, there was a comedian. He's always drunk. I don't even remember his fucking name.
In the like
he's a British guy. Like he's big.
Okay, Mulaney. No, he's not English.
It's not. It's some guy who's always fucking drinking. He's annoying. He is annoying as fuck to me because I'm just like, why does he sound so stupid? But he said something which I thought was incredibly fucking dumb. He was like, "Did you know that in third world countries," something about how there's statistically they don't worry about their happiness. And I was like, yeah, because they're in survival mode, you dumb shit. That's why. That's why they don't even fucking think about it, because they're just worried about where they're going to get their next meal, where they're going to find water. That's all they fucking care about.
Hunger is a little bit of a stronger feeling than I'm feeling a little sad right now.
Exactly. If they're thinking about they're happy, they're not thinking about it, dude. They're just not. Yeah. They just don't give a shit, And so I kind of think like when it comes to like immigrant families, we're just thinking about survival mode. You know what I mean?
Immigrant mentality.
Right, exactly. Yep. And it's not up until like, oh, if I give you the basic needs, you should be happy with that.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes
you have a roof.
Right, you have a roof, you have water. Food. Yeah, exactly. You don't need air conditioning, but you just need to be in a safe place to live.
Yeah.
That was like the basics, you know what I mean? And I think that there's that disconnect between, our generation and if you're first generation American born here and then your parents are immigrants, then they're not going to understand that. You know what I mean? Because they were in that survival mode all their lives. So when they see us, they think, oh, you should be happy with what you got.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, but we're not, like you could still be miserable and still have, it's like, the necessities. Yeah.
You could have raised us back home and maybe we would have thought a little more alike, but you had to give me a better life.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's just a different generation, and I think about it too. I was like, yeah, my mom had to face, like the feminism and all that being overwhelmingly, what do you call it? Like where they don't treat women.
Oh, like discrimination and stuff like that.
Yeah. Overt discrimination.
Yeah.
Though, for sure. Now it's not as overt. You know what I mean? It's still there, but it's not as like, it's...
Everybody likes to hide it now.
Yeah, well, no, it's not everybody likes to hide it. It's just there's easier ways to hide it now.
Yeah.
So we're just like, do they mean what they mean, But yeah, I think when it comes to like feminism and discrimination now at this point, I take it as a compliment. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, they think I'm a lady, you know? I'm like, yeah, okay. Sexual harassment. Door. I'm attractive, you know? It's just stupid. But yeah, that's essentially, that's what brought me here. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems as though a lot of the progress that you've made, you've seemed to navigate yourself throughout this journey.
Oh yeah. You know, I mean, even now, like I could see myself, because I get into everybody has imposter syndrome, right? Especially when you do comedy or you just create something
performative arts, right, or anything like that. Yes,
or anything, you know, trying to establish, you know, yourself as having some credibility to some extent. You know, you have to create a body of work, obviously, for people to take you seriously. You know, they're like, yeah, that's that in terms of like allowing that to play a role in how I meant. We're always gonna be like, oh man, I make shit, you know, like you make shit until you don't.
Yeah.
You know 100%. What I mean?
A lot of people don't understand that. They think they're gonna be great off the bat. It's like, no, you create a lot of crappy art before you make good art.
You have to, and that's what I learned. I think that's what partly like kept me going, you know, or keeps me going, is realizing, you know, I do have that degree in art, so I do know like. There is a study to it. People just think, oh, art is, oh, you studied art? How cute. You went to school to like fucking, you know,
look at paintings.
To be a professional kindergartner.
Oh,
and I was
my
like,
God.
yeah, bitch, I did. I know crayons. You know, shit, I melt a few in my life. But yeah, people don't take it seriously. There is a theoretical process behind creating artwork, you know. Most of it is usually justification. A lot of people don't understand, like, behind your artwork there needs to be a justification as to why it exists. You know, the Goldwyn Mayers, the sign, the one, it's the filmmakers, the MGM. So you have your computer in front of you. Okay, look it up.
What am I looking up?
It's the MGM. They have a tag that says, it's in Latin. It essentially means art for art's sake. And they say, even if there is no justification, the justification...
Ars gratia artis.
Yes. That is art for art's sake.
Art for the sake of art.
Yes. That is a movement that was started. I'm going to add that to
the whiteboard.
Yeah, that is a movement that started based off of the idea that you can make art and justify it as it exists.
Just
solely existing as it even of itself.
Yeah.
And that is art. You know what I mean?
The process of making the art is the art.
The process of making the art is the art itself. Yes, yes. And some people don't realize it. And I often get, you know, we often get tied up in our own heads, and we think, well, if I don't create this and it doesn't, you know, go viral or people don't appreciate it, then is it still art? Is it still even worth making? Yeah, it's still worth making.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Even if, you know, people on Instagram don't understand what art is. A lot of people don't understand what shit is. You know what I mean? They just want it for like, but I think if you can reach that level where you're just creating it and you consistently create, people will catch on and they'll start seeing that it becomes more beautiful as you get used to even just creating, you know? So that's what keeps me going is just the fact that it's shit right now, but it's going to get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right. I mean, just to speak from the realm of comedy, it's like I feel like a lot of our peers tend to want more from comedy for themselves versus wanting more from themselves for comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like if we're able to flip that, and then, you know, because what your expectations, the ones you can control are the ones that you provide for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I can't control you laughing at my joke or you laughing at my joke. You know, it's the diligence, the work you're willing to put into it. And again, like you said, just for the sake of it, just for the sake of art.
Making it, right. Just for the sake of making it, you know. I mean, because when I first started doing stand up, I was doing like low ball dick jokes and shit like that. Yeah. No pun intended, you know what I mean? But I was low balling myself emotionally on stage just because I was trying to figure out, you know, what makes people laugh, you know. And then part of me was like, well, do I want to keep doing jokes about sex? Because I know there's more to it. And then I started actually talking about myself on stage, and then I started realizing, oh, you can reach people without being gross, you know.
Yeah. I love that.
You can reach people without being gross, you know. Yeah. And I just stuck with that. Yeah. I stuck with that, and now I always stick with that. You
do take a very clever route with your jokes. It's so fun, the wit.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's usually just cynicism. It's like hidden aggression. That's where I get it out. I get it out on stage instead of punching someone in the face. You know what I mean?
So let me get the timeline of Carissa. You graduate from college with your arts degree. Were you already doing comedy at that point, or were you pursuing other things like physical arts? Were you a painter? Or did you just study art?
I studied art. I did paint. Oh, okay, cool. I did a lot of that. I did. Nice. I know how to paint. I know how to draw. I know how to cry in the shower. You know, like all those regular things that artists
crying
do.
In the car.
That's when you're on the go. You gotta cry in the car when you're on the.
I try to lower the window. I'm like, do you guys see me?
You cry. Yeah. She's like, I'm a busy woman, motherfucker. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
What took you from that realm of art to comedy? What made you take that step forward?
Doing stand up, I don't know. I feel like part of it was a dare. Like, that sounds dumb, right?
How long have you been doing stand up now?
Since 2018.
Yo, that's a long dare.
That was I know, right?
You've committed to the dare.
I've committed to the bit for sure. That was 100% a dare, you know, because what I really did want to do was I wanted to go back to school instead of, you know, I wanted to go back to school to be a filmmaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I wanted to do that. I wanted to get a master's degree in that. I applied to UCL. I didn't get accepted.
You went for it.
Yeah, I went for it. I didn't get accepted. I think it was mostly on my part because I fucked up on the essay or whatever that they have you write. I could probably get accepted into their arts degree master program or whatever the fuck, but I didn't apply to that. I wanted to be a filmmaker. That's essentially where I wanted to go because, you know, I know a lot of people always make, this is so stupid. People always, and I did, when I chose these glasses, I did not think, because I know people always make this joke where they say that I look like Edna Mode, and I'm like, that was not intentional, okay? These are Tom Ford.
I was like, those are gorgeous glasses.
Yeah, I do.
Those are iconic glasses. Right. Edna's got good taste too. So does Carissa.
But here's the thing: is that I thought it was funny because I'm like, how can you tell that's what I did in college? I know how to sew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and everybody always takes it into a dark realm because I wear a lot of black, like Buffalo Bill. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs your ass too any fucking day.
I wanted to say, I'm like, yeah, she has good taste. Did you see those outfits?
Yeah,
so, look at that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so you know, and this is a really weird callback. So my grandma, my dad's mom, she used to be a seamstress.
Oh, really?
Yes. And his dad, who was not in the picture because my dad was basically the child of an affair.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And this man, he owned like silk factories. Not just in Mexico, but like throughout the world.
Yeah.
So they are, and then I find out later through family members, because I don't know my dad's family too much, but like his other family, like his aunts and stuff like that. I find out, they are the providers to the world, to the fashion industry. They're the producers of most of the silk in the world. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. And then you ended up being in the textile, like the textile, but you were into textiles.
Yes,
there we
but
go.
not from that.
Yeah,
it's just
the
because
coincidence.
Of that. Yeah, and then I kind of like asked my dad. I said, "So, Dad, if your father would have taken you in, you would have been a rich guy."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I just thought, like, he's a truck driver. My dad's a truck driver.
Yeah.
But, it still doesn't take away from the fact that people have
like, I was almost a trust fund baby.
Yeah, exactly. Almost. I was this far. Yeah. And no, we didn't have a yacht or anything like that.
That's okay. Humble means make better people.
You think so?
I feel like it does.
I don't know. It could have been. But I always think it's funny that people always make that reference because I did not intentionally choose to look like a designer.
Yeah.
It just happened. That's it. And I didn't realize maybe there is like a correlation between like genetics and things that you're attracted to, and I feel like there is.
That'd be an interesting study. I mean, there's been studies about nature versus nurture, and that's kind of along those lines as far as if, like, to use trauma as an example, if trauma can be generational, then why can't interests?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that is, dude, 100%. I feel like that is the premise of like a good PhD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's where you
write it, girl. You got this. I'm too dumb.
Your dissertation for that. Yeah.
I was never anywhere near a master's or a PhD, so you got it, girl.
Yeah.
Take it.
I eventually I'll work on that. And when I make money, you know what? I always thought like, okay, when I make money in stand up, I do want to go back to school and like get the real credentials, but for like psychology, that sort of thing.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, do that, and then I actually had some weight, some credibility. You
already know you're a good student. You
know
what I mean?
am.
That's the hardest part is knowing that you can do it.
Yeah.
I'll switch psychologists.
Huh?
I'll switch psychologists.
You let your therapist know. You're like, you know what? As soon as Carissa makes it and she gets her
life, you're like, I'm gonna be on it. I'm gonna be No, I don't know if I would want to be like a licensed therapist. I would just want it just so that I can
have a better understanding,
right, and then be able to write books because I think a lot of people don't understand. Particularly with the diagnosis that I have, they're like, well, and I think that's the reason why I even started the podcast is like, if I could shed some light for people to understand different diagnoses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then kind of alleviate it. It's not as bad as it seems, but
you almost give people a starting point.
Yeah.
Because when you hear someone else talking about it and you're like, oh shit, I can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
And now you actually know how to
navigate it, you know, or where to find answers. That's what I need to work on is like because for me, I think it's more like giving people public access to this information.
Resources.
Right, exactly. Because it's there. I think a lot of people are either scared or they're clueless. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Don't know where to start.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's just...
That's a really beautiful thing you want to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not part of being... It comes from a place of like knowing, you know, how difficult it was. Most of the difficulty comes from finding the right answers because...
The best tools come from necessity.
Right, exactly. But no, I think of it this way, because there's so many people out there that are desperate to find help. They get taken advantage of very easily. And
especially in our medical system now.
Exactly. And that's where I want to help, to empower people to find the right answers to actually take care of themselves.
Save them $2,000 of co-pays before they get to the right one.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. It's like you don't want some guy to fucking find religion, you know? Like
yeah.
You don't want him to join a cult just because he's diagnosed with bipolar or some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's where a lot of it goes, you know, like a lot of people's heads go into conspiracy theories and it's like, it's not even that, dude, you know, like, because I could easily get into a conspiracy theory, you know, because I know my mind is that feeble enough
Yeah.
to believe that shit. But
If you read enough of
right,
it,
I'll be like, wow.
like, has anyone seen Carissa lately?
Yeah, like, dude, the dots are connecting, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
The It's Gonna Be Okay podcast
Yeah.
rebrands to a like subsection of Alex Jones.
No, I'm not trying to do any of that. I really want to give people like truthful, good, useful information. Yeah.
Do you even, because you interview a lot of comics, do you consider your podcast like a comedy podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, the only reason why, now here's something that I think people don't understand. The only reason why I interview a lot of comics is because I know a lot of comics, a lot of their jokes stem from trauma. And it's easy for us to alleviate that trauma by the way we joke about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people always think, oh, it comes from a dark place. It's like, no. It comes from the place where we want to remove the power from that pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're already,
it's a defense mechanism.
Right. So we're already separated from that. You know what I mean? And my sister said this really weird. She's like, why do you go up on stage and make fun of yourself? I'm like, because I'm reclaiming my power. And she's like, don't you realize that gives other people the ability to make fun of you too? And I said, let them
do it better than me.
Yeah.
If they can.
Yeah, let them. I said, I know who I am as a person. You know what I mean? I still get sensitive when people make comments on my physical appearance. I'm not good with
motherfuckers, that shit we can't change as women.
Yeah, exactly.
So shut your mouths, dudes.
Yeah. I don't.
Go shave your stupid beards and go get a haircut twice a week or whatever the hell dudes do. That makes me mad. You tell me if anyone says something, I'll kick some booty.
No, I'm all right.
Just kidding. I can't kick anyone's ass.
I feel like I could get them in a headlock at this point. Yeah. I carry a crowbar in my car. You know what I mean?
Let's go, girl. Let's go. That's how you know I'm a bitch. I carry pepper spray.
Oh God, no.
I go for the distance weapon.
No, I love confrontation. That's the thing. I love it, dude. I crave it, dude. Like some part of it is like some part of it is kind of alluring. You know what I mean? I'm like, what you getting in my face, bitch? You know?
You're like, I hope this guy gets a little. Oh, is she gonna pop?
If he's good looking,
popping off.
If he's good looking, I'd let him choke me. No.
He'll say it again. You just keep saying it again, bitch. Without hesitation. You're a bitch.
I was like, hell yeah. That's what I want to hear.
That's hilarious. Do you think, because I know you're an amazing roaster.
God.
You participate in a lot of roast battles. From what I gather on the internet, you win.
Yes. Well, I'm amazed I even win too. I'm like, why was that funny?
Is that part of you liking confrontation?
Yeah,
you're like, they can't punch me if I got the mic in my hand.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know how I said I'm still sensitive about when people make jokes about me, my physical appearance.
Yeah.
A lot of roast battle is making jokes about your physical appearance. So I feel like it's almost like I'm making myself get used to it.
You're desensitizing yourself.
I'm trying to desensitize
You're
myself.
exposing yourself to
exactly. It's exposure therapy, essentially. Yes, but at the same time, writing roast jokes is a different kind of writing. That's the reason why I do it. It's a different muscle.
I have a very hard time roasting, but every time someone asks me to participate, I say yes.
Oh,
but it's hard.
Yeah.
So
it is a different animal, 100%.
It's even the delivery of it, like the cadence and how you speak and stuff. You have to almost deliver the joke in and of itself in a different way than you would your own material, right?
Yes. It's like you're writing backwards.
Yep.
You
develop your own style almost with it.
Yeah. You gotta, I don't know. First of all, you have to know yourself too, especially to come up with the rebuttals. If you don't know how you look to other people, it's going to be difficult for you to come up with the defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm still learning because I think a lot of people always compare me to some sort of, tragic character. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. I could take tragedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, I could take that. But then I'm always surprised every time. It's always something like really weird. I'm like, dang, dude, that was really bad. That was just too direct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're naturally good at it though, as far as like roasting and writing jokes. Because there was one time, you probably don't remember it at all, but There was one time at the the open mic, some guy went up, and then you went up right after him, and your first maybe 2 minutes were you were kind of like roasting him a little bit. And Chantel, my girlfriend, she was getting a drink. She comes back and I'm crying, laughing, and I'm like, "You should have been here."
Oh,
but it was like you off the cuff.
What did I say?
The guy went up and he was talking like he's like, "Oh, I dropped out of med school today." He's like, "My parents don't know, And then no one was laughing, so he ended it with, "Oh, I might go kill myself later."
Oh yeah, that's
do you remember
right.
that?
Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that guy.
Carissa, you made me almost tinkle my pants that night. I was like, this
okay, yes, I do remember what I said to him. I said, "Bro, don't kill yourself over an open mic." I said, "I've had 5 suicide attempts, and that just means that you got to give up on the things you're not good at." That's what I said. That's why I'm here, is because I realized that, Yeah, no, yes, I do remember that, because he got really into the suicide. I was like, does he mean it? Or I was like, don't do it, bro. It's not worth it. Not for these fuckers.
Oh my gosh. It's funny that you remember it, because like I'm telling you, it was a very distinct. I was like, dude, to go up there and just have that gun loaded.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you just fire off that joke. I was like,
that's the only gun I have loaded. No, but that guy. Yeah, I felt bad for him, because you could tell he came from an immigrant. He was Indian, right? Indian dude. He had like one of those man buns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell he probably goes through it.
Yeah, 100%.
You understand the immigrant struggle.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, I mean, even with other people that struggle with if they're not of immigrant descent, or everyone's of immigrant descent, but I mean, like within close proximity. You know what I mean? Like generationally. Even with people that say that, I'm like, oh yeah, I understand. I get that feeling. Like I guess part of me. Bonding with people is through trauma. Like it just sounds even worse. Like I get along with you because we have similar really bad experiences.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't shy away from that now. And I know, like, people always tell you, oh, you should be afraid. You should be careful with what you tell people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't tell people that you have a mental illness, and
they want you to carry it with shame.
Right. Yeah. They want you to carry exactly. They want you to carry it with shame. They don't want you to talk about it.
It's because it makes them uncomfortable.
Yes.
That's my belief.
Yes, I've had that a lot. As a matter of fact, and I think the thing that my doctor was worried about when I did decide to start doing stand-up, he was like, I'm only worried if people are going to use it against you. And I thought, I said, that is a good thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, in medicine, they have like HIPAA laws.
Yeah.
And I said, but I'm not employed. First of all, like, comedy doesn't employ me, so even if they do use it against me, then, that's even a better That's even a better reason to speak out even more, because I feel like when people start, trying to weaponize information, especially about your own vulnerabilities against you, that it is, that's kind of like a narcissistic trait.
100%.
Yeah. And they're just doing it just to exploit you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's even more of a reason to speak out against it.
Has that been something difficult to identify right off the bat, or is that something that you feel like you've been pretty decent at, like this person's gonna suck, and you just kind of avoid that, like they're an energy vampire or something?
Yes. Like that? I mean, it was tough in the beginning because my mom is a narcissist. Speaking of which, it's funny too, because when I didn't know who she was, I thought she was just a piece of shit. I thought she was just mean. I described a situation one time to my doctor, and he was kind of like, that sounds a lot like a narcissist. And I was like, what? He's like, yes, look it up. And then he says there's like 9 traits that they fall categorically.
Yeah.
Like there's things that they do I don't know if she's aware of these things.
Are most narcissists aware? Or
no, they're not.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big indicators is that they're not aware. They don't fucking care. They don't think anything is wrong with them.
It's like borderline sociopathic,
Yes,
right? Like they're
I've met
completely-
narcissists that call other people narcissists, and then
yes,
it's like, and then
there
it's like,
are. Yeah.
The whole, if you point one finger, there's three pointers.
Exactly.
exactly,
Yeah. But I always worried to myself. I was like, am I a narcissist too? But in asking yourself that question makes you know that you're not, because you're self-aware. You're like, no. Self-awareness is a big thing that
You're critically thinking about that specific.
Exactly. Like narcissists lack a complete self-awareness and empathy. They don't fucking give a shit. Everything is about them.
Yep.
When I described that to my doctor, he was like, yeah, go check. Dude, she checked off all the fucking boxes.
Yeah.
Dude, I think there was like extra ones too. Like she checked off, there was 9,
Extra
she
credit.
checked off 13. Yes.
She was making up her own boxes.
Yeah, she went above and beyond. And
It's like taking an AP class. She graduated with a 4.3.
right. And then like when the weird thing is like, I know she didn't get this from her mom, my grandma, because my grandma's nothing like that.
Yeah.
And then I start realizing, it's from her dad, and like her dad is, let's just say he's a scary man.
Yeah.
My grandfather, the reason why my mom came to this country was because my grandfather, he actually had like a second family in Chicago. He was involved in organized crime.
Damn. Like real Tony Soprano shit.
Not Tony Soprano shit, but more like, the people they hire to take care of the dirty business.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I'm not saying he was a hitman or anything like that, but I know he was
just a man that hit.
I
right?
know well, he hit everything from behind for sure. I know he was a killer though. I do know that because later on they came looking for him, and I think that's the reason why my grandma came to this country, was because they knew that he was wanted in the United States.
Yeah.
It's like he came into this country as a bracero.
What's that?
It's like under the guy, like basically a worker.
Okay.
Like a laborer.
Okay.
But he did a lot of construction like that. He worked on the Willis Tower in Chicago.
Oh. Historical.
Yeah, but it was, I think it was under the guise that he would come out, do a job, and then go back to Mexico.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like a worker's visa or something like that.
Exactly.
Got it.
Like, I mean, a job.
But he was doing extracurriculars out here.
He was doing a job, like that kind of shit. He was doing a job, and remember, my grandma was like, "We got it," like the way she described it. She was like, "We just had to leave," and they came to the United States because they knew he was wanted here.
Yeah,
I never saw my grandfather for more than 15 minutes at a time in my childhood. Yes.
What?
Yes.
He's like, "Hey, Carissa, how you doing? All right, love you,
No. He didn't even. This man was so scary. He didn't even talk.
Stoic man, or
yes,
just
like you can tell he's done some shit.
Yeah,
didn't say a fucking thing. And here's this crazy part.
Yeah,
he's a short man. You know what I mean? I was like, what do they fucking put you in an overnight, did he bring you over here and like...
He's like a sleeper agent because you don't expect it. You know what I mean?
He was a short man. My grandfather was a short man for being technically a serial killer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, he was a short man.
Shrek jumps into my mind. It's like, are you compensating for something?
I don't know what it was, but... Yeah, I never saw him longer than 15 minutes at a time when I was a kid. I even remember my mom warning me. She was like, "Don't ever go anywhere with your grandfather." I was like, "Cool." I'm not even questioning it. And then
was that weird to grow up with?
Yeah, it was like
Were you desensitized?
Well,
to
when my mom told me, like, we found out obviously because when we lived in Rialto. We had people coming and looking for him, and then I was like, why?
I'm glad you guys remained safe.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the reason why we wanted to stay away from our family because of those ties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, Yeah, my dad he didn't want to be involved in it. He's like, no, we can't have you grow up like that, you know?
Yeah.
I've had a lot of cousins involved in, you know, kind of like drug cartel situations. They've been in and out of prison and stuff like that.
Didn't want you growing up in that environment.
No. And you know what? Here's another funny thing. Because I'm bouncing back and forth into my education. It was funny too because my mom was like, "Don't tell him that you're studying chemistry." I was like, "Oh shit, you get it, right?"
Yeah, yeah. You just cook some stuff up.
Yes, exactly. They're like, "Don't tell nobody you're studying that shit." I was like,
"They'll get you cooking meth or something."
I was like, God. So I remember it was weird stuff like that, like, but.
That's got to be bizarre to remember, like, because I mean, when you're a kid, I don't know about you, but like my memories come to me in fragments.
Yeah.
As certain things come, or as like I'll hear a family story, I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's like you're stringing together ideas. Yeah, but yeah, that's how a lot of my stuff comes. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was weird having a childhood like that, where you'd have to hide, that kind of thing. And,
my education.
Yeah, you'd have to hide your education.
Most immigrants are worried about their family
interests. Yeah,
you're worried about them exploiting you for money, not for what you could potentially make.
Exactly. Yeah. And then and then they're like, no, she just got a degree in art. She don't know shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, we saw Breaking Bad.
Yeah. No, this was before Breaking Bad though. This was before that. But I remember that because I have a lot of family that they've been incarcerated for those kinds of things. And that's one thing I still haven't talked about yet. Because when I was younger, I remember I wanted to be an FBI agent, and I remember my dad telling me, you don't want to do that, and I didn't know why he was discouraging me from that. He's like, you don't want to do that, and I was like, why? Why can't I do that? And he's like, well, because they're gonna do a background check on you, and they're gonna investigate your family. That's what he was more worried about. He's like, you don't want to do that. Go do something else. You know what I mean? And then I put two and two together, and that's when the stuff started coming out when I was an adult. I was like, oh shit, that's why. You know,
it's like, does everyone in your family refuse to take a 23andMe?
They did.
Yeah, after the Golden State Killer.
Yes, 100. No, that is why we did not do a 23andMe until my grandmother was dead.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That's a thing. Like a lot of I know a lot of families that. They're like, oh, we can't take that because we're afraid someone might get incarcerated for it.
Yes.
We give them evidence.
That is the main reason why we did not take it.
Yeah.
And at that point,
it wasn't a Gattaca reason.
No.
They're going to clone this.
Yeah, no, it was just because of my grandfather and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we're not gonna. He died. He died in hospice. He died in a nursing home.
It's a crazy way for a gangster to die, right?
Well, he wasn't a gangster. He was just a killer. He was just.
Well, you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
Like when I say like a G, like.
Oh no, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't. He was just a scary man. He was just. He was just a terrifying guy, dude. He was just like.
I got you.
I don't even remember him ever saying a fucking word.
Yeah.
He was just in the background, like just weird. Just
now
weird.
You see me,
right. And I like to make fun of it, like with my sisters. I was like, you don't understand, Crystal. We have serial killer pedigree in us. You know?
Do you talk about that on stage at
all?
all?
I haven't. I feel like that would be kind of like a weird thing to talk about. I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that one.
Yeah.
I do have jokes written about it.
Try it.
I do have jokes written about it, but I feel like then people are going to be like, oh yeah, we know why you have a mental illness now, like.
You're like, I wish that's what it had to do with. Gosh, that'd be simple, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it could have been like the nature versus nurture thing, and I was just in that environment, and it nurtured that,
Y'all watch out.
Yeah, and I said, you know what? I think
you exercise.
Yes, exactly. I think there is a possibility, but I don't want it. I mean, imagine if my grandfather got help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Men's mental health.
Yeah, dude. Yep. Seriously. Yeah.
Imagine if my grandfather got help.
The stigma behind that is crazy.
Instead of resorting to like killing people, you know.
I choose violence.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I just think I always think about that. I just think it's so weird.
The choices they had back in the day were far and few.
Yeah,
you know
they were.
I mean?
Yeah, it was either electroshock therapy or you got to put a bullet in somebody.
It's
you
like,
know?
let me get a good old fashioned lobotomy.
Yeah,
Where does a girl get one of those?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I did listen to the first episode of your podcast, and I was curious because you do mention your health, your wellness, your exercise, like your journey. How you lost a lot of weight.
Oh yeah, I did. I wasn't always fat, but I got fat from the antipsychotics.
Okay.
My heaviest. Oh, you thought I was always fat? Like
my original, because I kind of figured after you mentioned the medication, but then I was curious. I'm like, did you pursue wellness as a, because they're not, what's the word you say, like they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
mental health, like mental health and
your
physical health,
yeah,
they coincide with each other so much. So when you decided to pursue wellness, because now it seems like you do it so diligently, was it in the pursuit of physical wellness or mental wellness?
It's always in the pursuit of mental wellness.
It started as that.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Started as it did. It 100% started as, I mean,
a lot of people don't believe that it helps,
but it does. It does. Okay. So when I was a teenager, I used to exercise a lot.
Did you play any sports growing up?
No.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
You're good, girl.
I remember in my PE class, I was able to run it when I was younger. I was able to run a mile in 6 minutes.
Shit. Okay, Usain Bolt. What the heck?
And I remember my PE teacher telling me, "Hey, you should join track."
Yeah.
And I actually considered it.
Uh-huh.
And my mom was like, "Well, who the fuck is gonna pick you up after those meetings?" You know. And I was like,
Immigrant
"You?" I was like,
family.
"You?" And she's like, "No, I'm not gonna do it." And then I was like, well, that means I'm gonna have to walk home at like 9 p.m. because you know track meetings go on
all fucking day, dude.
And they have you run all fucking day. Yep. And then I think like because I had a really good GPA, I had like a 4.2 GPA in high school. Yeah, so imagine if I would have added track to that would have just fucking.
Where it would have taken you as far as your undergraduate and stuff.
Whatever. I'm in it now. I never did track. I never did any extracurricular because my mom just didn't. She didn't give a shit, you know. I remember as a kid, they recommended that I did like we had like a dissection club, and I wanted to do it so bad, you know. Yeah. And then she was like, "Well, who's gonna pick you up?" I was like, "You."
Just a couple hours later, Mom.
Yeah, I was like, you know. She didn't care about. She wanted me to be a doctor, but she didn't care how I became one. You know,
she didn't understand the steps that it took to do it.
Yeah,
the clubs
exactly.
And the extracurriculars.
She wasn't a supportive parent. Yeah, you know? And
like I always mention, I'm like I never grew up with my parent. Like maybe sometimes now, like when I graduated college, but like. I never got a, "Hey, I'm really proud of you for things that I accomplished." You know?
As
like the good grades you should have gotten. I'm proud of you. You know,
didn't give a shit, man.
100%.
It was an expectation. Yeah, it was not like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." Yeah, it was an expectation. It was 100% an expectation. Just because he's white,
right? My family was very much so. You go to college or you're fucked.
Yeah. It was 100% an expectation. You know, even when I graduated, my mom was like, "Oh, she didn't even fucking." My grandmother went. She cried. My grandma cried. But my mom, she was like, "I don't care. You're gonna do it again." I was like, "What? How the fuck do you even know? What makes you think I'm gonna finish graduate school? You know, like you don't know this."
When I graduated high school, all my friends were having high school parties.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, Mom, am I going to get a graduate?" My mom goes, "Everyone graduates high school."
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. And it was it's like so overwhelmingly like unappreciative. I'm like, all right, whatever, you know.
I grew up and I'm like, actually, Mother, they don't.
Okay, see, but here's the crazy part is like my mom was the first in her family of like, 10 kids to graduate from high school.
That's dope.
You know, she was the first one in her family to do that.
She put the diligence towards education, like at her the level was.
But then she didn't even realize, like, oh, you don't know how difficult it is to continue school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When she faced that trial and tribulation herself.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, then you would have been more appreciative if you saw it in your kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what was the question?
It was originally about the health if you pursued it as and I was saying people typically don't believe it. Like I used to tell people all the time, I'm like, dude, like you feel like you're in a rut. I know it sounds silly, but like go for a run. Just try to do it 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Like it's the silliest reference, but I always remember the Legally Blonde where she's like happy or exercise gives you endorphins and happy people don't kill their husbands. Like that's what I think about.
It does give you a high. It does give you a natural high. It does. That's like a brain hack.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's when my sister told me, oh, you've learned how to hack your brain. And I was like, I guess so. But
there's another little Carissa and they're just like,
right.
Got it.
But
we're in.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it takes a lot to hack that brain chemistry. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I don't have it. You know, it's not just that. It's just I take care of my diet counts.
It's super intentional. Right. Everything you do is intentional to function the way you hope to.
Yes, exactly. It has to be, because if it isn't, then I'm in a rut again. Yeah. You know, I always notice.
So you watch what you eat as well.
Yes, yeah. I do.
Do you have any like things you absolutely don't?
I don't do fast food.
No fast food at all.
Fast food.
Hell yeah.
No fast food.
Now the golden question: do you believe Chipotle is fast food?
Yes.
Oh yeah. There we go.
It's owned by McDonald's.
You heard it here.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. I say Chipotle is fast food too. A lot of people are like, no, it's not. I'm like, dude, it is. You can walk in, you can look at them, put it in the bowl fast.
It's fast food. Yeah,
it's 100% fast food.
Well, because it's processed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's 100% processed. I'm not gonna eat that shit, dude.
Yeah.
No, I think the most I will do that's fast food, and this is, I give myself some days.
Yeah.
If it's pizza, I allow it for pizza.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't do anything you get at a drive-through unless it's Starbucks. Then that's every once in a while. That's if I really need, if like I'm working.
You need to pick me up.
And I need that, yeah. And I know people are protesting Starbucks. Dude, shut up. I get it, but you don't understand. I'm a working fucking person, right? Yeah. You know?
Hey, my country's being bombed by them, and I still go to Starbucks.
I'm sorry. Yes. Okay.
Sorry, Lebanon. I think there are still, like, people in Lebanon are still going to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Like, they're in the malls there.
But getting back to the question, they're not mutually exclusive. They work hand in hand together. You know, you can't have one without the other. Yeah. You know, and if you do, then fuck you. But
that's true.
So I used to work out a lot when I was in high school. I did yoga. I did that kind of thing. And then it started kicking in, and then it became more difficult for me to do because I was trying to manage my symptoms. And then, you know, feeling.
Do you meditate?
No, fuck no.
Yes. I don't like it.
No, I've had people say that meditation helps. It doesn't help for me.
Taking a nap helps a little more for me. That's what I do.
It's harder because everybody's like, oh yeah, it'll quiet your mind. I said nothing will quiet my mind. Yeah. Okay.
If anything, and maybe does that make it louder? If anything.
Yeah, it just makes it worse. I find that the closest thing I get towards meditating is when I'm on the treadmill.
Oh, okay.
I have to be moving.
Your second, when you hit that second wind.
I have to be moving for my brain to be at ease.
Yeah. When your body takes over your brain.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that override.
I have to, I can't sit there and just, just won't, I just don't feel right.
Well, that's the trick when it comes to like Ironman athletes and like marathon runners, right? It's like, you know, mentally you want to give up before your body does.
Yeah.
So it's like that mental strength that you're building up. It's like you get past that breaking point, and now you could just be like, this is all I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm fucking running. Let's make sure I don't fall. And that's it.
I'm in it. I'm all in it. I'm in it. Yeah.
Do you like running outdoors?
No, because of the sun.
Yeah. I get it. The sun is bad for you too. Yeah. I'm outside a lot for work, and I'm in a long sleeve.
Oh yeah. No,
I wear a neck gaiter.
Yeah. It's because of the sun. I avoid the sun, not because I'm a vampire or anything. A lot of people will say some stupid shit like that.
Dude, my coworker, she was on a green card like to work here from China, and she would always roll up to the office, and she would get out of her. She looked like a beekeeper from how much she would try to hide from the sun. She would wear elbow high gloves. And a hat that like literally draped over her face.
Yes, I have a hat like that too. You know.
Do you wear it?
Yes. No, I don't wear it anymore. But I did.
I respected the diligence. I'm like, you're committed.
Yeah, I am 100%. I just it's weird. Like, look, I'll show you.
It's a sign of royalty.
Maybe, I don't know, but this is my original color. Look at this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You see,
your hands are a little tan.
You see the gradient?
Yeah.
The gradient, I guess.
Here, let's go side by side on this one.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because I got the construction tan.
Yeah. It's the same thing, right?
Apple Watch or iWatch.
I never go outside. I don't even have a tan.
Yeah, he stays indoors. If you're going to talk about a vampire, it's going to be this guy right here.
Yeah, I don't like going outside unless it's like for like an event.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
When I go outside, it's for purpose, like to do something. I don't go outside to enjoy the sun.
Yeah, no, that is a weird thing. You know?
Must I? Hey, Connor, we're going to the beach. Must I?
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I mean, like,
no.
I'll go to the beach if all the homies are going, but
right.
it's not going to be my idea.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, nah, you'd have to dare me to do it. Yeah, there has to be sunblock, 1,000 SPF. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Looks like I'm the only peasant in this room with my dark complexion.
But getting back to the question, so the managing the diagnosis and the stress and learning how to deal with it, when I was younger, I used to weigh 130 pounds. My heaviest was 260.
Damn.
Yeah, right now I think I'm like at 187. No, it's not like murder or anything.
No, it's 187 on a
187 on this bitch. Yeah, no.
You might appreciate it. I had a T-shirt one time, and it was like a periodic table T-shirt, but it was the element was OG.
Oh shit!
And the weight was 187.
That's funny. I like that.
It was really clever.
That's funny. Hell yeah.
That's the shirt you were wearing when you came out to me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I remember that for some reason.
Yeah. It was a cool shirt.
Yeah, but so what was I saying? Oh, the working out thing. So when they took me off of the drugs, I was really heavy, and they were like, you need to lose weight because it'll help you out.
Yeah.
So I started I wasn't doing exercise, but like slowly, because I wasn't on the drugs, I wasn't eating as much.
Yeah.
So like it was coming off, but not fast enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
you have to take matters into your own hands.
Right, exactly. And then like after the pandemic, I don't know, it took me a while to get back into the gym. What made me get back into the gym was like I had a breakup with some guy.
Revenge body loading.
Yeah, no, yeah. It wasn't for that reason. And it was strange too, because I'm gonna say this. I met my trainer because I was plateauing at the gym after the breakup. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You needed to break the ritual.
Right, exactly. Because I wasn't getting like what I wanted out of spending so much. I was basically going to the gym just to fucking get my anger out. And then I figured, if I'm going to spend all this time doing it, I might as well have some goals.
Yeah.
So that's when I like hired him. And I've explained to him like, oh, I got a mental illness, and he was very compassionate. You know, he's a really good guy. You know,
to be a good trainer, you sort of have to be.
Yeah. He's very compassionate.
Everyone comes through a different walk of life to pursue this one thing.
Exactly,
that we all
but
need.
I was kind of worried that if I told somebody, because I've had people that didn't want to, you know.
Jerks.
Yeah,
they don't want to work with you.
Because I have a mental illness. So like, oh, I don't want to get involved with that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, whatever, you know.
They need to fall on something sharp.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, so I've had him for like maybe a year and a few months.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I can do push-ups now. I can do dude. I did 4 planks, and each one of them were a minute and 20 seconds. I could do a 2-minute plank. I'm trying, and I told him, I asked him, what's the longest you've seen a plank? And he's like 8 minutes. And then I was like, oh shit. And I said, those are goals. That's what I'm gonna aim at, do an 8-minute plank or go above an 8-minute plank,
Have you seen that world record lady that did the plank?
No.
Oh my god, something disgusting. I think she did it for like 9 hours 38 minutes and 47 seconds. This chick right here.
Holy shit.
Girl, they timed her for the Guinness Book of World Records. It was insane. I was like, she did what?
9 hours?
Yeah.
How was she eating during that time? Because I would feel like you'd have to have like
I think they were giving her like water, like little
like planks of steel. Like your abs are just like, if she had a baby, dude, boom, like a
Flex.
second, yes, yeah. Can you imagine that?
Pregnate me again.
There weren't even labor fucking pains. It's just like, like the kid just comes flying out. They didn't have a fucking baseball mitt to catch it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I imagine this woman's life, and I'm like, all she did was dedicate herself to being on her toes and elbows.
Yeah, that probably hurts too, dude, because
she's calloused.
Yeah, dude.
You know how dogs will get the missing patch of fur?
Yeah, they'll get that little fucking whale skin right there build up.
Her toes are just permanently.
Oh, no. I don't think I want to do 8 hours.
No, hell no.
No. I can do 8 minutes.
Well,
but
a minute 20 is tough.
Yeah.
Like that's a difficult thing to achieve, period.
Oh yeah, no, I send him all my my what do you call it? Watch, I'll show you.
Well, if you ever want to geek out on working out, dude.
Hell yeah.
I love exercise. I exercise every day.
This was today.
Oh, okay.
So like the in between, I keep my
all your sets.
Yeah. Well, they're not sets. The 30
those are your
second,
planks.
Yeah, the longer ones, the minute and the 20, that's the plank, and then the in between is the rest period.
You're only resting for half a minute.
Yeah. 30 seconds. Why, is that bad?
No, that's a short rest time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of people will take longer rest times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of committed to like, he's telling me this thing about German volume training. I don't know if you know what that is.
It's as far as like to build the muscle endurance, right?
Right. So I'm just doing that instead,
because a lot of body weight stuff.
Because he tells me to do the like 30 to 40 seconds when I'm doing the German volume training weightlifting thing, and then I just got used to doing that as like a rest period.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Thank you. Thank you to my trainer. He he's helping, my mental health.
Hell yeah. I used to be a personal trainer.
Yeah,
so
no, I know. I remember that.
I really like that kind of stuff. I'm really. So I'm a big advocate for health and wellness.
Yes. So then you understand. And I think that especially like having the background in like the physiology and anatomy and things like that, that helps make it easier. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I know why things exist.
Yeah.
You're
the
like,
function and everything.
Right.
Like
exactly.
That.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Carissa,
yes.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is funny because like I was you live right by a fucking LA Fitness, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go and work out right before I go and do this, because I had work today, and then I went to sleep, and then I was like, you can't just fucking sleep. You gotta.
That's how I feel.
You gotta get your ass out there and fucking go work out. You haven't done day 3, and
you got that self-loathing. Accelerant. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I always joke. I say it sometimes on stage. People will say they'll do anything it takes, but no one's down to try a little self-loathing.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-hatred gets me through my fucking workouts.
Do you do pre-workout or anything like that? Or you do you caffeinate before you exercise?
I do caffeinate. Yes.
Yeah. Coffee.
No. Sometimes I need to tone it down on the coffee because of the staining of the teeth. But I'll get
you
like
do have very beautiful teeth.
Thank you. I get a yerba mate.
Oh, nice.
Yes, yeah.
There's actually a lot of fucking caffeine in those things.
Yes,
It's like 200 milligrams.
Yes, 160 milligrams.
That's crazy. In a tea.
Yeah, in a tea. But I like it because it gives you like a happy boost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I could torture myself. You're like lifting the weights. You're like, fuck yeah. You know,
people see you, they're like, damn, she's having a good time.
Yeah. I wish I was her. You know, I was like, you don't want to be this. You don't want this shit. You know.
With COVID, I still have an LA Fitness Pass, and I like playing racquetball and stuff like that sometimes. But we got a gym in the garage. And it's been like my absolute solace because like I'll get home no matter how hot or cold it is, whatever. I throw that music on. I shut the garage and I'm like, I could be as loud and obnoxious and as me as I want in this little tiny garage.
Yeah, I like that. I started, as a matter of fact, I started doing yoga, which I haven't done in a long time.
Hell yeah.
I started doing that because I actually really enjoy it. I miss it. You know what I mean? It adds a different, layer of like different kinds of exercises.
That's where you get your mobility and your balance.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I thought, this will help me out.
Fall prevention.
Exactly. So when I started, it was funny too, because when I started doing the yoga and there were some moves that I used to struggle with, but because I have like core strength and upper body strength,
you can hold that warrior three like it's nothing.
How did I do that?
Yeah.
And then I'll send a message. I think I don't know, some parts I think like my trainer gets like, why is she sending me this? You know what I mean? But I'll just send like a random gratitude, thank you, and he's like, what the fuck? But that's the reason why, is because I see myself doing things.
He appreciates that.
You think so?
Guarantee
I hope so. Because
someone got me a cup one year that said Coach Melissa. And I was like, no one's ever called me coach.
I just, dude, he is the only person who's ever told me he was proud of me.
Really?
Yes.
I'll say I'm proud of you too, dude, because what you just told me, that's not an easy thing to lose. You've lost over 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Look at me, that's fucking hard. You've done something that maybe 0.5% of the people in this world, will never try to do.
Yeah.
And the people that try to do it probably won't achieve it. So you're a fucking ass kicker.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you that right now. That's badass.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I also love health and wellness. So I'm totally geeking out on the fact that you like it too.
That, dude, I love that you love it.
Yes,
I do. I am a big proponent of that every single time. And it's not like in a shameful way or anything.
Yeah.
Dude, I had someone, I know we're going to end this soon, but I thought it was I'm going to end this on a weird tidbit. But like, I recently had someone ask me like, oh, what are your vices, Carissa? You know what I mean? And I said, well, what the fuck do you mean, what are my vices? I said, I like to work out a lot. You know what I mean? And they were like, well, that's not a vice. And I was like, and then they said, don't you think that's kind of like a douchebaggy thing to say? I said, no.
Yeah,
I said, no, it's not. I said, if you even understand, like, self-hatred gets me to the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's my vice.
Yeah.
That's the way I deal with my
Some people take a shot for it. Right. I tend to go to the gym.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, if I'm going to torture myself, I might as well come out a different way at the end. You know what I mean?
We're going to do a part 2 to the podcast, and we'll do it in the gym. We'll do it while we work out.
Hell yeah.
We'll try to see if Connor can hang with us.
No, the answer's no.
He's just going to throw up at the end of it.
He's all like, nah.
I'm good. I'll take the skateboard out.
He's all like, we're going to skip leg day. Fuck that.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Tell the people where to find you, girl. We're going to put the podcast link in the bio. Yeah. We're going to try to push it, but tell the people where to find you.
Okay, don't follow me to my house, but you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is DOC_Hollywood_. I know a lot of people ask, what does the DOC mean? Department of Corrections. No, just there's like different layers to that. But I just I guess it's in homage to like not being a doctor, but actually still talking about mental health and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Everything on my Instagram is through my Doc Hollywood. All of my accounts are all that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. Cool. Except for the therapy. It's at Fun Therapy Podcast on Instagram. And just look it up. I have all my links on there.
Yeah, we're going to throw it on the pod so that way people can find it. Thank
you.
Thank you so much for being here. Everyone, thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.